Whenever you're ready to go.
Here we go. Letting the room fill up for WrestleMania. Hope everybody, we're not going to be able to match the energy of WrestleMania.
I feel like we should be eating Slim Jims or something in honor of it.
Oh my God. I forgot. That was like a big co-branding opportunity, wasn't it?
Snap into a Slim Jim.
Oh, we
That was
totally
Macho Man.
All right.
Should we be wearing suntan oil?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Did you guys all grow up with wrestling?
Yeah, it was called Big Time Wrestling when I was a kid.
Yeah. My peak wrestling for me was Macho Man. That was the era, and I was not allowed to watch wrestling, but it was like the most popular thing. When I was in grade school, I was not allowed to watch it. And so, but everybody at school watched it. And so I would pretend like I knew about it.
I was just going to ask, did you then just pretend
funny.
like you knew?
Yeah, I pretended like I knew who all the people were. Because this is also before, I mean, like you had to like kick people off the phone to get on the internet. So it's like, you know, and also it was not during a time where you could Google like crazy guy with sunglasses and bandana and like find out who he was.
I mean, I was way before that. Like I was the days of Hulk Hogan making it big.
Hulk Hogan. Yeah, no, Hulk Hogan was pretty established during my during the early days of my wrestling phenomenon. But yeah. But looks like John, you picked somebody from every era, which is great.
That's pretty.
Well, I mean, there was people way before Andre.
Yeah, but the eras that we care about, the televised era.
I think Andre is the most interesting of all of them. So I wanted to make sure we started off with him.
Yeah,
He's a legendary character.
Yeah. All right, I think it's time. Okay.
Right.
Here we go.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Illustration Isolation. I have my wrong camera on. I changed it. I apologize. I will correct that very quickly. I think I'm supposed to be starting here. Well, tonight is I wanted to say, Timmy and I were kind of like beating our heads against the wall of like, you know, what are we going to do? You know, what would be a good subject? And I think we came across a great subject. It was Timmy's suggestion. And I kind of rolled my eyes. He didn't see me because we were on the phone. I kind of rolled my eyes and I was thinking, oh man. And I was just thinking about all the cheesiness that's connected to professional wrestling. And then when I started looking, there was so much fun stuff.
I hit home runs with these ideas.
Yeah.
It's a pretty awesome one.
Yeah. So I started researching, and we got a great group of images tonight. We're doing the WWE, basically professional wrestlers. Our first 20-minute pose tonight is of the man himself, Andre the Giant. And
Andre the Giant was WWE. It's been around that long.
Yeah, I don't know if it was WWE at that point. You know, I actually think it was.
Wasn't it WWF first, then WWE?
Yeah.
So many, Cassandra. I don't know.
Okay, the World Wrestling Federation maybe preceded WWE. I'm not sure.
Sorry.
There was some World Wildlife Fund.
So we're going to draw Andre the Giant tonight. That's the first. That's our first drawing tonight, and unbelievable character, amazing individual. Actually, all kinds of little facts when you're researching these things. Andre had a grandfather who was 7'8". It was 6 to 8 inches taller. Andre lied about his height all the time. They listed him at 7'4". He was actually 7 feet tall. Wilt Chamberlain was an inch taller than him. But and then his weight, they said he weighed as much as 600 pounds when he was wrestling, which they said was probably maximum 500 or in the high 400s. And I think at that point, what does it matter?
It's a lot.
He was a big
Impressive.
dude. But the most incredible fact that I picked up was he had the thing that he liked to do more than anything for entertainment is drink. And he would go to a pub and drink until he passed out, and they would just shut the door and come back the next day because they couldn't do anything about it. He would just pass out in the middle of the floor, and they would wait until he slept it off. And in one occasion, he drank 108 beers in one evening.
My Lord.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's insane, but interesting guy. He had his likes and dislikes for people in the ring, and if he didn't like you, he was not kind to you. And that they all kind of said this about him. He was the one guy that could really hurt you. So imagine, I mean, he truly was a giant. Anyway, first pose tonight will be fun. Second pose, Randy, the Macho Man Savage. Interesting kind of, the contrast be him and between Andre.
John's like, what do you say?
Yeah, that's right. We're going to draw this guy. He was kind of an interesting guy too.
I don't think I have shiny enough paint.
Well, if you want to see an interesting video, Google Macho Man Randy Savage, cream of the crop, and he's doing these things with little creams, saying he was the cream of the wrestlers, and he would just keep and he came up with all these. He would just like magically produce these. It was actually pretty fun watching him do it. These little packets of cream, saying he was the cream of the crop. It's an interesting little video. The third pose tonight is Dave Batista. And I chose this. I don't know. I have seen him before. Don't know anything about him, but I love this pose. I thought it was it's a really fun pose. I love the lighting. It's kind of in contrast to almost. I could have done the same pose of every wrestler, of them, all flexing and screaming. Their mouths are open and they're in that same pose all of the time. So I thought this was a really nice contrast and kind of a more quiet pose.
I love it. It looks like he's thinking, I got
thinking man's wrestler. And you can either, on the third pose, which is a 40-minute pose, you can either choose to do Dave Batista or Bobby Lashley. And I think Bobby is I don't follow professional wrestling, but from what I can understand, he is like the newest of the superstars. And that's a really interesting shot. So plenty to draw from tonight. If you can, post your work into our hashtag illustration isolation at the end of each pose. And then we'll go through and take a look at them at the end. And I believe that I'm in here with Cassandra Loomis Kim, with Bill Cobe, and I cannot see the name of the
Adam.
That's Adam. Hey, Adam, welcome. We got a good crew. It'd be fun to draw with everybody, and let's get started. Timmy, you got anything you want to add to all this? It's your idea.
No, I just want to highlight that, getting us to move away from TV shows for a week, which I think is a welcome change. And I dropped the link to the photos in the chat. And if you're wanting to join the conversation, please join us on Discord. I'll drop a link to that in a minute. If you're not familiar with Discord, give it a try. It's really fun.
Okay, we're ready to go.
Did anybody ever read the book by Carrie Elwes all about The Princess Bride, the making of it?
No.
No.
Oh, it's such a fun one. But he tells a lot of great stories about Andre the Giant, kind of like you were saying, John. And one of them was about the time he drank so much he passed out in the lobby of a hotel, and they couldn't move him, so they just like corded him off with velvet cord, like those velvet cords and posts, until he woke up.
Oh my God.
That's funny.
So I never really watched the wrestling except for fun when I was a kid. It was called Big Time Wrestling. And
Except
yeah.
for fun. That's kind of the idea, Bill.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, except I never liked the pay-per-view thing. So when I was a kid, it was on Saturdays or whatever. It was called Big Time Wrestling. Well, let me explain that a little further. So, and it was just silly. You know, they had all these costumes, whatever, all these rival matches. But my brother, one year, I don't know, 30 something years ago, paid for a wrestling program, and everybody was telling him, they're like, oh, that's so fake, it's fake, da, da, da. And he got so mad at that. He's like, I know it's fake, I get it, it's fake. But it was fun. It was just like, he didn't care, you know. But he was even though he knew it was fake, he was really into it, you know. And he was really,
When they do those top rope jumps, though, I mean, I understand it's theater, but that, you know, a backflip off a top rope isn't fake, you know.
no, I mean,
You know what I'm saying? Like the athleticism is incredible. I love
oh my
it.
God, yeah. Well, I mean, they have muscles that aren't awake on my body, you know.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with that. And I didn't know that Dave Bautista was a wrestler, though. I don't know how.
Yeah. Yeah. The photo that John shows, I was saying, it looks like he's questioning his wrestling career in the photo.
Yeah.
Like thinking maybe I should be in the Marvel universe.
Maybe I should be Drax.
Maybe I should be blue.
Yeah. No, he's done a lot of stuff. It's pretty crazy. I mean, we were talking this morning because we do wrestlers this morning. It's like so many of them. It's more believable than any other sport that they move on to acting, because acting is such a huge part of wrestling, you know. What's everyone working with tonight? Adam, you've been quiet.
Hey, Adam. He's still quiet.
Yeah, I know. He's
Is he
muted.
muted? Or did he step away? I don't see his hand.
He's
No,
still
he's
there.
here. He's
He's just muted.
muted. Cassandra, what are you working with?
Acrylic on cardboard that I treated with GAC 100.
Wow.
Oh yeah, somehow my microphone automatically muted. I must have shot lasers out of my fingers into it.
Not again.
That's my thing.
What are you working with tonight, Adam?
I am working with that water soluble. It says it's water soluble graphite. It's basically like earth tone watercolors. And then I'm going to be throwing some pencil and ink and whatever else I left around me as I try to save this.
It already looks cool.
Thanks. The night is young.
Bill, it looks like you're using a larger brush than normal tonight.
I'm using a roller and ink and some gesso and a brush, and wishing I had some black acrylic, but I don't. But just kind of playing with, yeah. this stuff. I think I made him too thin, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. I feel sorry for the guy that like. I mean, that other guy looks so small compared to Andre.
Yeah,
Like,
crazy. He's probably like 6'4".
I know, and I get that. It's just,
Yeah.
but,
I feel bad because the moment he accepted this match, he knew what his job was.
Mm-hmm.
right. I'm going to be pummeled. That's my job. The pummelee.
We're not quite sure. We haven't worked out the details, but you're not going to win.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Andre the Giant's career in wrestling other than like his size and stature and just like all the fun facts about him. But was he often like the heel or like the bad guy? What was his thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
It would shift. Like
Yeah.
he would be a hero for a bit and a villain for a bit. Like it was always kind of a
Okay.
rotating thing depending on the storyline.
Yeah. He did it all. I see.
But I mean, he was definitely beloved.
Now, was he the guy on was he the Sasquatch in the $6 million man, or was that somebody else?
I didn't hear that, Bill. Say that again.
Was he on the $6 million man as the Sasquatch, or was that somebody else?
No idea. Came out about 50 years before I was around. I don't know.
I just know him from The Princess Bride.
Oh, I mean, that was my favorite movie as a kid.
Wasn't he Jaws?
No, that was
No, that was
the actor.
Richard Kiel.
Yeah.
Similar faces, I feel like. But maybe not. I don't know.
I just have this scene in my head, the contrast between him and was it Carrie Ellis? Is that the actor's name?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The contrast of how small Carrie Ellis looks compared to when he was fighting him in the movie.
Oh yeah.
I heard
His back was really bad too. So they had to be really careful with those scenes when Carrie would hop up on him because like he was just, I mean, poor guy. Like he really did have a lot of like physical issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't young when he did that.
You figure he had to carry himself around, right? And that's
Mhm.
Yeah.
that alone is kind of a haul.
did he just die from tons of health complications? Was that, or was he, I mean, do you,
Yeah, he suffered from gigantism,
Yeah.
and
which I'm sure is just
eventually that gets you.
just
Yeah.
just a whole host of problems.
Yeah.
Like the drinking was self-medicating, honestly, because he was in so much pain.
That's
Wow.
horrible.
Oof.
But I mean, I remember hearing, like, I watched that Andre documentary, which I thought was wonderful. And like they interviewed Hulk Hogan and he was just like, yeah, Andre did not like me because he thought that Hulk Hogan was really arrogant and that he didn't give him like his due respect as being somebody like as Andre the Giant had been around for super long. And and Hulk Hogan was like, and I was super arrogant. He was totally right on that. But boy, he like would pound me. You watch any of the matches of Hulk Hogan versus Andre, and you just see Hulk Hogan getting a beating.
Oh man. It's hard to make Hulk Hogan look like a small human being too.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
There's pictures of him and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Wilt Chamberlain when Arnold and Wilt were doing Conan. And there was a lot of pictures of them together. And Wilt was as tall as him, but about 100 pounds lighter, 150 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
The part of the disease, his hands were immense. I mean, they show him holding like a beer can, and it looked like he was, holding something this size. It was just amazing. They look like little toy beer cans.
Good. Oh, wow, that looks awesome, Adam. Oh, you even put the second guy in, so
What was that?
you even put the second dude in, so hats off to you.
Yeah, I haven't been here, I haven't made it to a couple of these, so I figure I need to do my penance.
Yeah, step it up, Adam.
Oh, Cassandra, that's cool.
It's still rough.
That is cool, Cassandra.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. John, I don't think you've said what you're working with.
I'm working in pastel. I'm not trying not to bring any attention to it because the only way I can do this is like put the background in first.
But his spandex looks amazing.
It's just insanely bad.
Speaking
At this
of
point.
speaking of spandex, we need Dale in here,
Right? It's been too long. I love that was a segue into missing Dale.
But also Dale needs to dress as in costume. Like Dale needs to be in here wearing spandex. Just for tonight.
I'll leave that to you to text him.
I don't think that's going to be a way to attract Dale in here.
I don't think so either. But yeah, I do miss having Dale in here. And we need to say maybe Ray Benia's name a few times to get him in here too.
Yeah, I was sure the topic tonight would get Ray in here because I know he's a big wrestling fan. One thing I will tell the audience, if this is your first time joining us, to use the chat on Discord, you got to update the full name. New students are not allowed to post images. It's a security thing. Sorry. Don't know what to tell you. But you can ask questions. So if you want us to have, super technical conversation about process, technique, career, like ask questions. If you don't ask a question, you're not allowed to complain about the conversation. That's the rule.
It's funny, I was running today and I was thinking about tonight's session, and that's when the text came in for the the images and stuff. And I was totally thinking, oh, Ray's gonna be there tonight, And I didn't know that Ray was into wrestling, but it just seemed like he would be. And I have nothing to base that on.
Well, I mean, I think he's like a few years older than me, maybe. Like maybe a couple. And it was a huge part of a massive part of like 90s through the early aughts. Like, and then I think it's kind of having a renaissance now, but I want to say like 95 to 2005 was just huge.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you think they just bought baby oil by the case?
Oh, you mean by the tank?
Yeah, because I mean, I'm looking at how much he's glistening just in this photo. The specular highlights on Andre.
So that's a good question, because this is another thing is it's a sport that involved like picking people up and throwing them around a lot.
They must be so slippery.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't know that, I mean, I know that bodybuilders use a lot of oil, but I'm guessing a lot of it is sweat.
Yeah, I think we're looking at a very sweaty Andre.
Yeah, I can answer that question because I read about it a little bit.
Oh, sweet.
Did they grease him up, John?
Andre, no, well, Andre, he hated baby oil. And he got mad they talked about the wrestlers that wore a lot of baby oil that had a match with him. He would just take it out on him because he didn't like getting the baby oil all over him. And the reason he didn't like it is he liked to leave the arena and go straight to the bar and just towel off and not have to take a shower.
Real purist.
Yeah, and so the baby oil really slowed him down and getting to the bar. So he was a purist, I guess.
That's funny. I think it's my sister-in-law who when she was a little kid, she dumped an entire jar of baby oil on her head, used it as shampoo.
Oh God.
And like whatever, like a bottle of it, just a whole bottle. And they it was like her hair was greasy for like weeks.
Oh my
Until they
gosh.
were like, we just got to cut your hair off.
Oh,
They just couldn't. It was just a grease ball.
that's like worse than getting gum in your hair,
Yeah.
you know?
Somebody asked what were you using as a primer, Cassandra?
Oh, I use GAC 100, Golden GAC 100, which is like a clear primer, and you just need one layer and it'll seal the cardboard.
Yeah, there's a couple different GACs. They go up to 500, right?
Yeah. Oh no, it goes up all the way to 800 actually. And they all have kind of different purposes. I think GAC 200 is good if you're working with like a metal leaf, like a gold metal leaf or like a bronze metal leaf. You can use that in place of other varnishes. So I think depending on which GAC you get, you can use them for a multitude of things, but GAC 100 is nice as like a sealant. So it's nice on masonite to put across the back too, to seal that in. And I always have it under both sides of the masonite before I gesso. Then nothing can seep through later.
Mhm.
I was at the art store last week and I saw the array of the GACs,
Mhm.
you know, and I thought, Cassandra could tell me all about these. And
Yes,
which one I should get.
I love to expound upon them. I will happily be their GAC spokeswoman.
We need to get you a GAC sponsorship.
Yeah,
Not other golden products, just GAC.
like they've got some other good stuff, but like the GAC is like my favorite. I prefer that over other brands.
I think I messed with this enough.
So this is our 5-minute warning on the first post.
That went super quick.
Adam, did you have any really good pun drawings this week?
What was today's or today or yesterday? I was running. Once you hit like 260, I find they come to me slower.
For anybody wondering, follow Adam on Instagram. I'll drop his handle in the chat. But do you draw a pun drawing? Is it every day?
There was a stretch where it was every day. Now I'm down to like it's every every couple of days.
It's an animal pun. Is it always an animal pun?
No, not always.
Or it's
But
a pun of some sort.
yeah, but if I can't think of one, I just start thinking of an animal and run it over in my head until I come up with something.
They're delightful. They're absolutely delightful.
I
yeah.
still feel like there's got to be somewhere out there. There's got to be like an alligator crocodile one I haven't thought of yet.
Now,
Okay.
Adam, do you do one every day, or do you do a bunch and then just post them?
Now there was a stretch where I would just I would think of what happens at first is you think of one, and then as you're doing it you think of another, and you think it's like creativity is this kind of funny thing like that, right? You kind of give yourself parameters, and before you know it, like your ideas are having ideas.
Yeah.
Adam, did you ever do the alligator arms, like what they call somebody who's like not a quick tipper at a group table?
No, I didn't. I've done similar to that. One of the ones I was proudest of early on was a crocodile kind of sitting at a computer with his little telemarketer headset on,
Mm-hmm.
because he was a dial-a-croc.
I mean, I do still love your Cold Sorcerer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's a favorite.
Still like my favorite. Yeah.
Have you, Bill and John, have you seen that one?
I don't know that one.
So it says Cold Sorcerer, and you see like a wizard with a wand, and he's saying herpes.
Oh, nice. That's good. I like that.
That's
I almost got that on a mug because I got your Glamster, and I wanted that one, but I was like, do I want to drink have
No.
something that says herpes on it when I'm drinking? And I was like, I do want my coffee that way, but I can only get one. So I got the Glamster, but I still want the Cold Sorcerer.
That's great.
Yeah, I had to, so I actually did just, I've been making these like just self-produced books then. Once I realized I had over 100 of them and they needed to live somewhere. So I actually did I just okayed the proof print of volume 2.
Oh, yay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Stinkers volume 2.
So when's that going to be released?
I think I just have to put it on my link tree and then it's officially released. There's I think $28 for 100 terrible puns.
Oh, now you're buying your puns?
And then I was inspired by a friend of mine to not do the pages front and back. They're just one per page. So that if you wanted to just tear the pages out and frame them in your bathroom, you can do that. When I met one of our local friends and they invited us over for dinner, and I was like, I hope I like these people. And I walked into the bathroom and she had an Edward Gorey like monster alphabet book that she had exactoed out the pages of and framed each one of them around the bathroom.
That's fantastic.
And I was just like, okay, these are my people.
Yeah.
I at this point I pay property taxes just for the neighbors.
Is that an exercise that you came up with, the pun drawing?
Yeah, I was trying to learn Procreate and I needed something that I could just keep doing.
Yeah. I imagine it keeps your brain nimble.
That I'm going to use that word when I tell my wife what it's been doing to me. I don't know that she would say that, but
Yeah.
Did you know there's like a worldwide pun championship?
Pun. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I
like
didn't know that.
they just do pun. I saw like a TikTok video about it that like the world champion was making a video about she'd won it several times in a row.
wow.
Wow.
I had a friend in
Something
college.
you could work towards.
All I'm trying to do right now is puns and I can't. It's just
I think one of the gateways to like kind of train yourself into it is a friend of mine and I used to do this when we would go out to a diner. We would just start grabbing things off the table and using them in sentences. And like you could pick up the shaker and be like, you know, that was very insulting. And then you could pick up the other thing. Oh, I was not prepared for that. And then because then that leads you into the classic like slow down because I have to catch up. And right. And they just but then you start you look you find yourself looking around, you start thinking of things to say with hash browns and
that but the catch-up one, I mean, I imagine that is the one where people are like, come on, you're not part of this club.
Yeah, right. It's that's the one where like that's basically you have just about tapped out.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you knowing a little bit about, your training ground.
Right. Yeah. The catch-up one is the pun teller's version of cut me, Mick.
Yeah. Adam, do you have any projects you're working on right now?
Yeah, I'm still working on this book that's been going on for a while. Got put on hold for a month and then is back on at full speed. It's that nonfiction book about UFOs.
I was gonna say, is it the UFO one?
UFO one.
Yeah.
I just got to spend yesterday painting a crumpled up Mylar weather balloon.
That's great. I have a few questions about that, but I do want to let everybody know we're moving on to the second pose, which is Macho Man, correct? I believe so.
It is.
Yeah, we're moving on to Macho Man Randy Savage. So please post your work, post Andre to Instagram using hashtag illustration isolation and passage. Again, that's hashtag illustration isolation, add visual arts passage. We're going to check it out at the end of the night. If you wait, people always complain. I got a message earlier, like, you never look at my work. It's always late. It's because you don't post it during the drawing. Please post it now. Don't wait till the end. But we love seeing the work, so please do it.
We really, really love seeing it.
Adam, I've probably asked you this before. Have you've had a UFO experience?
I've had at least 2.
Okay, I knew it. Yeah, you've had like a few. That's amazing.
What's an at least? I mean, how do you?
No, like because I know like there's 2 that are vivid for me, but the lake that I saw one of them at, I know that we've seen other things up there, but I just as a kid growing up.
Oh, but that's a UFO.
Yeah.
All it's got to be is something you just don't know what. It's just unidentified.
Right. And so I don't have like a clear recall of what the event would have been.
What's the new word for him now?
Unexplained aerial phenomena.
Okay.
But when you say phenomena, you have to go do 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 do.
Mama.
Right.
Yeah.
Phenomena.
Yeah. So I wanna believe.
Yeah, and I've seen that. The thing is, the sighting I had was with my dad, who is like the most unflaky person, in the world. And so when we both came in, we're like going, that was weird.
Did you see or are you planning to see the Jordan Peele movie? Nope.
Oh, I would love to. Yeah.
It's so good. It's very, very troubling.
Oh dear.
And I think that it had 2 or 3 of definitely 2, at least 2 of the most scary scenes I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh really?
Yeah. It's really good. And Jordan Peele does such a good job. He always does such a great job adding like allegories to his films. And I really loved the one that which I think some people would say they're like they can be sometimes like heavy-handed, but I think he does such a great job at it. And in Nope, it's really good. It feels like you're just like when you see it, you're just like, oh, I can't wait until somebody writes a dissertation about this movie. Like, you know,
You know what's coming.
yeah, you're like, this is gonna be, I mean, he's kind of, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to like upset Kubrick people, but he's kind of like operating in that space right now. Like as a director, I think he's like at that level where you're like, oh, he makes perfect movies. In my opinion. But yeah, highly recommend it, especially if you like alien space horror stuff. It's crazy.
Keep thinking I'm going to get somewhere with Andre here, so I keep hanging in there. But I don't think it's possible.
Actually, that knee is beautiful. The bent leg.
Yeah. Actually, that little belly overhang, the light on that is really beautiful too. These are things I like about art is you get to say stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Belly overhang light.
Well, I'm very aware of the belly overhang light. I've studied it for a long time.
John, isn't that a mini course that we're running?
Yeah.
belly overhang anatomy.
Belly lighting for belly overhang and double chins. That's what
It's the follow-up to the ear class, right? Perfecting the ear.
Taught by the ear king, Dale Stefano.
Yeah, I was gonna say taught by Dale.
But you have to be 45 or over to take the belly overhang class. Nobody laughed.
My illustration students used to they would there was a group of them that would like keep a catalog of things that got said in class, but without writing down the context. So you have these moments where you'd say something and you go like, I'm just gonna say, over in the biology department, they're not having this conversation. As you talked about, some very specific drawing phenomenon or problem solving allegory and never mind the reference searches that go on when you're trying to learn how to draw kind of anything.
Adam, that's great. I love it. You're already capturing Macho Man.
Yes.
Awesome.
How about his strategically placed stars?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. See, this is the trouble here. I'm breaking like all the rules where you get carried away. I'm doing his crazy sunglasses going. I haven't even given this man a waist yet.
But do you need to? I mean, you've already got the gesture of the hands.
Yeah.
It'll be great if you get to it, but I think you have so much established.
Yeah. There's something we said for like this strategy too of getting enough there that you've got like a really solid sense of scale.
Yeah.
Have something that's actually fleshed out so that everything else you draw you can compare it to.
Oh boy.
John, I mean, you've got the whole environment. You've really are taking it. I'm impressed.
I'm ready to get out right now.
How old do you think all these wrestlers are in these photos?
In the photo or now?
Well, no, not now. In the photos. Like Andre, probably pretty hard to guess his age based on a photo.
Mm-hmm.
but I was looking at like.
He looked like he was 30 when he was 12.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at the photo of Macho Man and I was thinking, I might be older than Macho Man now.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm probably about peak Macho Man age, which is hard. It's something I have to come to terms with, you know?
I don't think, I think Macho Man died in 2011 of he had a heart attack while he was driving.
Oh my
Aw.
gosh, I did not know that. I thought he was still with us.
His wife was in the car with him,
Oh, that's horrible.
and she took over and was able to steer the car into a tree. They avoided all the other cars, but he was dead from the heart attack.
Oh no.
It just gotten remarried, and it's kind of a sad story. I mean,
Yeah, super sad. That's terrible.
There's a wrestling thing that actually falls into wrestling obituaries only because that's how I found it out. Was that King Kong Bundy, who was this just big, bald, like a weeble of a man. Do you guys remember weebles? They were like kind of shaped.
Yeah.
And but he lived in the town that I went to college in, that I currently teach in. While I was there, like he retired from wrestling to live in like Glassboro, New Jersey, and like all the people in like this one fraternity like knew him because he was their next door neighbor. So he was like this man about town in like this, you know, tiny South Jersey kind of Mayberry.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, we were talking about the Mickey, the wrestler. It's not a sport for longevity.
Right.
No.
Yeah,
The concussions and the herniated discs. I mean,
yeah.
We talking about the dangers of illustration?
Oh, definitely. Hey, Ray.
Hey, everyone.
the dangers of watching live brush.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Life Rush takes a week off and
John English off the top rope, everyone.
Thanks for joining us.
So happy to be here, guys. I tried so hard to get here before, but it's just like a nighttime routine is a nighttime routine. And I realize it's not my routine. It's someone else's.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing you can do about it. Like, awesome, you can show up when you can, but I hear you, man. That's hard.
But I'm so excited for this reference thing. This is like my sweet spot of wrestling.
I knew it would pull you in, Ray.
Oh my God.
I wish you'd been here earlier because John was like, Timmy suggested wrestling. And I was on the other end of the phone. I rolled my eyes.
Adam said that he lived in the same town as King Kong Bundy. Adam, can I have your autograph? Can you please sign it, friend of King Kong Bundy?
Right.
This is great. We've got the whole crew here tonight. This is so nice. Because like last week, it was me, Bill, and John. And
Sorry.
somebody in the chat goes, I miss Cassandra. It was like, we are busting our ass to try and do this.
It was so hurtful.
It was so,
I was like,
oh, it was so mean.
I love you all. You know what? If it makes you feel better, I was coughing. I couldn't talk. I just, I got.
That makes me feel a lot better now.
that-
You're in
Well, I
pain.
mean,
that makes me okay.
I wanted to hang out with you all, and instead I was having to finish a poster, and I was just sadly coughing, like one of those pathetic period pieces with someone with consumption, like, if only.
It was one of those moments where I was like, I just want to take everything away from, I want to cancel the show. I was like, yeah, I need to establish control of the show.
And poor Cassandra was one step away from the doctor telling her she should move to the seaside for her.
Yeah,
Oh,
you must immediately get sea air.
You
Yeah,
must move to New Mexico immediately.
That's-
Dry climate.
that's not a thing doctors prescribe as much anymore, is it?
Yeah, strangely enough, right?
Do they?
Now they have like antibiotics and stuff like that.
Wait,
They have actual medicine.
I'm gonna the next
Wait.
time my mom asks me about, like, hey, did you want to go to the doctor? How'd it go? And I'm like, he told me I need to move to a drier climate.
Well, I think the move having some sea air, like that's they
Yeah,
gave that to like Victorian millionaires. Like
yeah.
like Oliver Twist's people were never told that.
Oh,
No,
and
they were just told to go back to work.
can you
Right.
imagine the doctor's like, and I could sublet you my
Yeah.
seaside home. This would be great for you and me.
Let me ask you, do you have an estate by the sea? That would be the best thing for you right
You need to move by the sea and you need round the clock care.
Yeah. I just like the moving thing is, especially what's wild is it was during a time where moving across the country was like not easy. Like, whereas like, okay, say goodbye to everybody you know here.
Yeah.
You might see them once in the next 10 or 15 years, maybe.
And you might die on the trip.
Right.
Yeah. I'll be
It's so
Going on
awesome.
a 5-day trip because we heard the air is dry here.
Yeah,
Get
we've never seen it.
They're having a humid summer anyway.
And that's kind of funny. Like the North American cure is to go out where the air is dry, and the English cure was to go out where there's lots of like saline blowing in on the breeze.
Yeah. I would
Well,
think
I want to say the Spanish flu, they genuinely discovered that sunlight helped. Like people being out in the sun survived better than people who weren't. So the hospitals would they'd put people by the windows or open the air. Like all of that actually made a really big difference.
Yeah, I
yeah.
saw those pictures that they're like hospitals set up on beaches and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
it's pretty wild.
Yeah, my grandfather spent it as a newborn with the Spanish flu, being given brandy in his bottle by his aunts.
Dude, Adam, you are knocking it out of the park with your stories. You are 2 for 2 so
Yeah.
far. I'm
Adam,
loving it.
how old are you, Adam? God.
Wow, that is awesome.
Adam's 100 years old, everybody.
He's actually a vampire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and Ray, you missed UFO stories already.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is just great. This is
Ray,
just
here's the
great.
question. Have you ever experienced something you can't explain? You're just like, I don't know what just happened there.
Yeah, how I'm late to WrestleMania night on the illustration isolation for once.
Yeah. I feel like
Actually, I yeah,
Right there.
I don't think so. I'd have to think about that.
everything. You're like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure everything that's ever happened to me can be explained. Yeah.
So you picked wrestling night?
I did. I
Okay.
was suggesting we needed to come up with something that wasn't a show. And I mean, wrestling was a huge part of my childhood.
Dude, is so
Huge
great.
part, despite the fact I wasn't allowed to watch it.
Oh, you weren't?
No,
Oh, but I think we had this conversation, didn't we?
Yeah, it was like against the rules of my house. Everybody at school talked about it. So I pretended. I lied. I acted like I knew who these people were.
Wow.
Eventually
I grew
got
up-
caught. Got caught all the time. And then once the news was out, like if kids were talking about South Park, if I tried to get in on it, they'd be like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not allowed to watch anything.
I find that, knowing your parents, I find that really strange that you weren't allowed to watch.
You know what? Books, free reign. I could read the most like salacious, just like over the top books were totally allowed. They just were very like, none of this junk TV.
I get it.
Oh, okay.
They just shut it down with the television.
Hmm.
And you could sneak it, you know, you could, there was a lot of sneaking around trying to like, I remember that you know, those like little tiny box televisions that were like, somebody would like carry them, like. they
Oh,
had-
yeah.
Yeah, I remember you try to get one of those and like watch like WrestleMania like in a closet.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah,
It just makes you want it more.
Yeah.
it was so, and what's crazy is I don't know that I ever like really watched it enough to ever understand it. But now, like when I watch it, it's so silly that it was against the rules for me to watch it, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
It's all like, it's basically just soap opera with people
Yeah.
in spandex underwears.
My parents weren't super strict like that. Like they weren't like like Puritans in that regard, you know?
Yeah.
Just were like very concerned with like how much junk television we were like. I mean, I can't even imagine how they would handle today.
So
But
they're just good parents, is what
Yeah.
I'm hearing.
yeah, in hindsight, I mean, I remember when I went to, once I was old enough to like have my own autonomy with like television and stuff, like there was definitely a year where I just went off the rails. Just would watch anything, was obsessed with television. And it's like people that say like if you don't drink until you're in college, like you go nuts. That was me, but with television. I
That's
was,
funny.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
But you know,
Yeah.
like I also like went to a Catholic school that was like even for Catholic schools was like crazy strict. And they would send out like newsletters to like be like, don't let your kids consume this media. And there was always like, I wish I could find one of them because
Whoa.
it would be so interesting to see how they described, like, I remember there was one that went out about Friends, the show Friends, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
I remember my elementary school sent one home when I was in 5th or 6th grade about Madonna's Like a Virgin album.
Oh, Adam, that's the one
Wow.
misstep for my dad, was the Madonna one. I remember leaving a Barnes and Noble with him, and he was like, Timmy, if you ever want any book, I'll buy you a book, unless it's written by Madonna. Yeah. And it's all like hearsay. Like it was just like they were told, like, you know, the book or the album, they would just like hype it up as being like sensationally, I don't know, edgy or whatever. And nobody actually watched Friends. They just were told by the school, like, don't let your kids watch it,
Of course.
you know, because it wasn't like they could like, well, let's let's put it on Netflix and see if it's really bad. Like, for you to do the homework as a parent to like find out if Friends was inappropriate for your kid, like you had to like tune in.
Yeah, a lot of hearsay. Oh my God.
You
That's
know, like
crazy.
whereas like now, like if somebody told you like don't let your kid watch the show, you would just be like, let's pop it on Netflix, see what the deal is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Sammy. And
Mm.
this like sometimes I wish like there multiple times I know I've said this before to you, but like it's shocking we haven't met in real life. Like we didn't grow up together or something like that, because there's like things that, you know, I would have like gone to your house to tell you, like crazy things. Like I went to grad school. In grad school, I went to like I was in a class, an illustration class, and a buddy of mine's, you know, I befriended this guy, and he was really cool, and you know, I was like, how old are you? And he was like a little older than I was, you know, which was typical for grad school because I went straight from undergrad to grad school. And I was like, what did you do before this? And he said, oh, I was a professional wrestler.
What?
Yeah. And so he was like, not like it was like the local strips, you know, like the
Mhm.
regional stuff. And but he told me he wrestled the Honky Tonk Man and Rooster Barber Beefcake, and and I'm asking him all these stories. He's actually in a wrestling documentary. He's like in the background. It was something. It was like done in the 2000s. It was like above in the ring or above the ropes or something like that. And yeah, so it was just like when I heard this, I was like, if I had told 10-year-old me that I was going to meet somebody like this, like in grad school, in painting class, I just would have been, I would have just called myself a liar. It would be like, no way, and yeah, so it was so like we were so excited about it. I was like, oh man, what was the life like and stuff? And he was telling me it was pretty hard, like zero pay and stuff. And and I'm telling, I was really all about like, oh, what was it like being a wrestler, right? And so I introduced him to another buddy of mine's, a good buddy of mine's, and he the first thing he says like, oh my god, it was like, does the sweet chin music actually hurt? Like, and that's the the finishing move of the Honky Tonk Man. It's like the first question you ask somebody, right? It's like, he just like, and he's like, no, it doesn't hurt that much. It doesn't hurt at all, And the Honky Tonk Man was a sweetheart, it was like, the biggest, like, he was like a villain, in the WWF, I just thought that, I was like, man, I wish I would have known Timmy at that time to tell him like, dude, you won't believe who I met today, and what they did. You wouldn't believe it.
Children's book illustrator Ted Lewin was professional wrestlers.
Like a real old school, like, hey, like, I'm in Coney Island.
I was a teenage professional wrestler. But yeah, like in the Coco Montoya type days.
Yeah. It was. Did you ever meet him in person?
No, only at a book signing briefly.
Oh, I met him at a Society of Illustrators show, and I was like, it was celebrating like him and his wife Betsy were having this show of their original artwork, and I was looking at Gorilla Walk, I think it's called, or someone with they're walking with gorillas, and he had all this beautiful artwork, and one of them was the wrestling one, and like the man's hands were like, you could tell like he worked. It was like it was so it was just like these these calloused, gigantic, like
Neat
they've
paws.
seen. Yeah, and it's just like, it was almost like those Hulk fists, those
Right,
green
yes.
Hulk, the foam ones, and
I'm
I was
looking
like,
at them right now, actually.
yeah.
The Hulk fists are on my bookshelf.
It's like, oh, that man's actually done labor, like,
right.
Meanwhile,
I don't remember, like, first trying to make sense of it in my head because his work is so delicate and sensitive.
you're right.
And then I briefly met him, but I went, oh no, this makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. What a life, man. What a life. That's like, and then he just went on to become a successful illustrator. It's really wild, to think that somebody had time in their lives to have a completely different career.
So my neighbor, the IT guy / DJ, also was
King Kong Bundy.
Right, he was one of those amateur, like the sort of like I don't know what they call that level, but yeah, the touring professional wrestlers. Like finish a tag team bout in Chicago and then have to drive to Detroit in a snowstorm for tomorrow's
Right.
match.
Yeah, totally. That's oh my god.
So it's funny, he and I will have like conversations that, like, I'll talk about being a bar musician, and he'll talk about being a professional wrestler, and we're like telling the same stories.
Wow. I didn't even think about that. Like, one's a little bit more. It's crazy to think that he beats up his body that much, on the weekends, or like, I mean, I'm sure your hands get calloused and stuff like that, when, as a musician and stuff. But
Yeah, but
yeah,
you try not to get beat if you came home from a gig feeling like a professional wrestler does, you really did something wrong.
Right. Right. Oh man.
And
Yeah, that was a
no,
did you talk about like the ring and stuff like that? Like I didn't realize how like it's not very as soft as people might think like it is when you fall on it. At least the one that like my
Right.
buddy had was like just a thin piece of foam and like just wood,
Oh,
and he was saying that I was talking about steroids and stuff. He says, well, the reason why he says he had done steroids and the reason why was to recover faster. Like it wasn't to build muscles.
that kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And he says that's the reason why most of the wrestlers did it, because like you're doing that day in and day out, like, and you have to, and it's not like you're on all the time.
Yeah, there's not a lot of downtime.
No.
I've heard that about like hockey players as well. The downtime is just like way lower than any other contact sport. That's
I never thought of it like that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it does make sense. They do play a lot.
Yeah, the hockey players I think are getting hit. Like, yeah, there's just like less recovery time,
Right.
you know.
Well, and that's why that leads to like all these like, I know we were talking about Macho Man's death. I mean, that's at least that's where like you get all the heart attacks from.
Right.
Is that type of stuff. I mean, he had a friend that
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I assumed that was the case.
That's
It-
probably from the steroids.
from the steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the
Didn't know
enlarged.
Macho Man was like famous for having not done steroids or something. I just don't know anything about him other than his slogans. Yeah, brother.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, my brother so he lived in St. Louis for quite a while, and he would go to these amateur wrestling matches that were in this I think they were in a school cafeteria.
I was gonna say like an Elks Club of some sort.
Yeah, he would go, but they were like, I mean, they were serious, like amateur, like it was amazing. Like it was the perfect environment for it. Like it was perfect, like fringe, totally hidden. You felt really cool knowing about it. He became like really into this one wrestler that was kind of a Santa Claus type looking guy, and his name was like Moondog Rover, and he was part of the Moondog Pack, which is a famous like stable of wrestlers.
Wow.
And on my brother's, I think it was his like 30th birthday or 29th birthday, we all got a bunch of people to go to this wrestling thing, and we reached out to Moondog's people, and Moondog when he finished his fight, he dedicated his win to Tony.
That's amazing.
It was like one of those moments where you're like,
Oh my God.
$20, but it's worth 10 that.
I would have been. I'm just so jealous already. Like I'm so jealous already. I went to school with someone who had a childhood that I wish I had. Like went to all the WWF matches. Like the Bushwhackers,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? There's like twins. They're basically like, I don't know. They wouldn't fly today, but they
yeah. I mean, most wrestling from the 90s. Let's just
Yeah.
assume.
So they'd go over like when they're entering in, because they're a tag team, they would go over and put like lick a kid's head, right?
Oh,
Right. And he got his head licked by a bushwhacker. Like
Oh my
I was like,
God.
are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding? This is how we became friends, because I walked into his room and he had taped all of the old WrestleManias, and he was having a party in his room just watching it, he says, but that's not even close to what else happened to me. I said, what happened? And he says, Bret the Hitman Hart, was fighting one other time, and Bret the Hitman Hart's another like really famous wrestler from this time period. And he would walk in with these glasses, right? They're like these shades, these metallic shades. And he would pick one person in the crowd and give it like a kid and put the glasses on him. And
Yeah.
Bret the Hitman Hart walked over to him and put those glasses on him. Can you believe that? That
Wow.
one person in a lifetime had the Bushwhackers lick their head and Bret the Hitman Hart put on the glasses.
You know what? I have this is one of the sadder moments from my childhood. I went to see Willie Nelson, and when he was going on stage, he threw his hat to me.
What?
Yeah. And guess
How's
what?
that sad?
A police officer took it from me.
No.
Yeah, a cop took it from me. Intimidated me and forced me to give it to him.
For
Left.
himself?
Yeah, he stole a cowboy hat. He stole Willie Nelson's hat from a child.
Wow.
I've thought about that. I hadn't thought about that for a really long time. I was like 13, and I was like, whoa, that guy just intimidated me. And because he knew I was afraid, he just took my hat. Yeah. I think about that all the time. I could have Willie Nelson's hat.
Oh my God.
Thank you,
And
Brad.
it's not even like you could have gone home and watched wrestling to make yourself feel better either.
No.
You had books. You had a bunch of books.
Yeah. You're just describing my childhood, just a library. No, my parents were really cool. They just were.
Yeah, your dad hung out with Jacques Cousteau. It's not
Yeah.
like you went home
Well,
to a
no,
boring
but I mean,
house.
when I say he's cool, I'm not like, oh, he hung out with cool people. He was like, it was a cool childhood, but TV, there was a hot period. I want to say, I mean, I don't know. I want to say it was like from like 97 to like 2003, where it was just like every night on local news was just like about what was going to ruin your kid, you know?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. I mean, it's the same way with social media and stuff like that nowadays,
Yeah.
Mhm.
But no, yeah. No, you sounded like you have really, really good parents.
I just don't want anybody thinking like I grew up like in a compound.
No, you didn't grow. No, you had good parents. You had
Yeah.
and you're really. Who knows? Who would have thunk you are really well read and read above your.
Yeah, who would have
Your
thought that I
grade.
was raised amongst books?
Yeah, raised amongst the books raised me.
Yeah.
You know. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
My mother had this story about another like town mom coming to drop some off at the house and being like, where are your kids? And my mom was like, they're home. She's like, I don't hear it. She's like, I don't know, they're in the living room or something. The woman looked in, and my brothers and I were all lying on the living room floor reading encyclopedias. And the woman just looked at her like, oh, you're kidding.
Wow. Did you have Encyclopedia Britannica?
No,
Was your mom paying you to like make her look good?
No, I mean, it's like we were probably researching like landmines or something, but
And we put it here, here, and here.
right.
Oh, man.
We were learning terrible things terrible things to inform our drawings.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody, we should move on to the third and final pose. Please post your work to Instagram using hashtag illustration isolation and @visualartspassage. We're going to check it out at the end of the night, but please post it now. And we're moving on to, you have the option of it being Dave Bautista, or this is a more modern wrestler.
Bobby Lashley. Lashley.
Lashley.
I think
Lashley.
contemporary wrestler, correct?
Yep.
And I really wanted to do this pose too. The Bobby Lashley. But Macho Man's like one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Ugh. Maybe this will be like we'll do a double stream. How about that, Timmy?
I'm fine. I'll allow it.
This is, the thing this reminds me of is, I got hired to teach a figure drawing class during the pandemic. So it was, all distance learning. And part of the class involved like having to do some like hardcore anatomy, which I am pretty much self-taught on and don't know the names of things. But I figured like the way of getting my models for this was I found like high def videos of bodybuilding competitions. And the freakishly steroided out guys who you can count every sinew in.
Yeah.
The winner would do this like really long choreographed pose routine. And so I had a whole bunch of those for students to choose from and pause. And we would do like timed drawings like this, but from like, I'd have, the guy start to walk across the shared screen and I'd freeze him in some crazy pose. And then for homework, they'd have to take a pose like that, but then they'd have to figure out what he would really be doing. It was a perfect excuse for like a barbarian sharpening his sword or throwing a
That's awesome. Wow, that's a great idea. That was a great idea. That's a great way of learning too, because it's so easy to see the shapes.
Yeah, I mean, it was like addictive for me. I did it. I was like, I got to make sure this will work. I sat down to do it. I was like, oh man, I have to stop doing this so I can actually start my class on time. Like,
Right.
I could throw my life away just sitting around drawing bodybuilders on my own.
Yeah. What happened to Adam? Yeah, he got into bodybuilder art. What?
It's a thing now.
Not in any lucrative way.
Right.
That somehow made me flash. Did you guys ever watch the show Gladiators, with the obstacle course?
Oh my God, American Gladiators?
Yes.
Sandra, I went to the American Gladiators dinner experience in Orlando.
Nah.
Okay, featuring many retired American gladiators who didn't look, let's just say, in peak shape, but they were competing. While I ate my cheeseburger, or like my all-American cheeseburger.
That's fantastic.
With laser fries or something like that. I forgot what yeah.
My brothers and I would like just watch so much of that.
Oh my God. So such a great. You ever want to just go on that like thing with the there's like a pedestal. That's my favorite event with like the.
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't even know how to describe it. Like the foam sticks on both sides.
Like the jousting kind of.
Jousting. Yeah.
I always wanted to be the one that shot the balls at people while they ran the course.
Oh yeah, man.
That was like my dream.
That's right. And they're like dodging it, and they got to put it in the like right. They got to like score. Oh man, that's like the ultimate like
little sister thing where I was like, my brothers, they're both like 6'3" and 6'4". So I was always the little one. So that was one of those daydreams of like, I could get him then with that.
I think we got a new show idea.
I like it.
What do you think, Timmy?
Little sister, big brother.
Yeah. American Gladiators.
I just like the idea of Cassandra shooting stuff at us while we're trying to draw.
Please.
Dark side, man.
Please. Just like a Nerf gun.
It's like American Drawing Warrior.
Yes.
American Shrine Warrior.
Drawing's not hard enough the way it is.
Yeah.
Again, I can still continue to use, please pack your palette and go, when you don't make the cut.
Rinse out your brushes and hang up your apron. You're out of here. Oh, that's awesome. I wonder why there's no like reality shows for like artists. I know the question. I know the answer to that because they might not be as entertaining as outside of this group. But like
they tried one
in Britain, they do. Like they have like
there's a British one that's about portrait painting.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one. I was thinking you're talking about the Great Pottery Throwdown one. I love that.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Oh, that one's delightful. I didn't know there was a portrait artist one.
Oh, it's so good. There's like, Adam, how many seasons?
I only just found out about it. So
Where is it streaming? How can I watch this?
I've watched clips on YouTube.
Hmm.
That's where I watch. It was like the next great portrait artist or something like that, and they have actual portrait artists. I mean, like they're going after it. I mean, they're not, they come from, they're not like traditional like royal art, RP like painters, but some of them are like more contemporary artists that are portrait. They're all portrait painters. They're all pretty well like versed artists, and they bring in celebrities and stuff like that to pose for them. It's pretty
Oh,
cool.
wow.
Yeah, it's legit, So I'm
Somebody
like,
tell me that it's streaming somewhere besides just clips on YouTube. That sounds amazing.
I think the full episodes were on YouTube the last time I checked, but it was
Hmm.
I'm gonna check that right now. Now you're making me
Gonna make you do some work here.
make it do some work. British BBC British. There it is. Let's see. Portrait Artist of the Year. That's it. I think that's what it is. Yep. Portrait Artist of the Year. There's one in I don't know. Maybe this is not it. It is. Maybe. I don't know. Because there is one that like Australia also has their version of that too. Yeah, Portrait Artist of the Year. Yep, that's it. And there's some of these painters are, I follow some of them on Instagram. They're like really well established. Some of them ended up doing like portraits of the Queen and
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's pretty awesome stuff.
I need to watch this.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat here.
Didn't Phil Hale do one of those things, and he did a portrait of Tony Blair?
Yeah, man, that was like one of the best commission portraits I've seen. Like that was so good. Oh my goodness. Has anybody ever
I've seen it
with that? Oh my God. I don't know how he was able to secure that. He must have gotten a lot of flack for that because there are a lot of British painters, portrait painters that probably were like, why didn't you hire somebody who was British,
And to be fair, he lives in England, so
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Do you guys want some wrestling trivia?
Bring
Oh
it.
my God.
All right.
You had me at wrestling.
I don't know what's so trivial about these questions. I think wrestling trivia. This is all.
I'm gonna prepare it. Just one second. I got some loud dogs.
All right. While I'm doing that, boom. Playlist, Portrait Artist of the Year. I'm gonna send it off to the chat here. I'll make sure that I'll do. Oh, I can only do host and panelists here.
Yeah, you've been gone a while, Ray.
So what happened back in my day?
Let me tell you how it was.
Yeah. All right. What is
He
the
used to
term?
shoot ping pong balls at you.
All right, we're gonna start with some easy ones. What is the term used to describe a wrestler who usually cheats and badmouths fans? Anybody?
Are you gonna make it multiple choice?
I can, but I don't know that. I think
it's a heel.
yes, heel. It is a heel. Okay. All right. This is a long one, but I like it because it's interesting. And I'm pretty sure that I'm reading these. I didn't make these, so
Oh man,
for
don't say that.
anybody, for anybody like wondering, or if I say something wrong or something, this is me reading the internet out loud.
I thought this was something you
That
like
always
made
goes
as a
well.
kid. Yeah, I thought this was something you made as a kid because you couldn't watch wrestling, so you made wrestling trivia.
Timmy, this
Oh,
should be your new
no.
show. Timmy reading things out loud.
All right. Well, I just want to say that because you never know. You never know. All right. Pro wrestling promotions often set up fictional storylines between several superstars to generate a matchup. Even when outside the ring, wrestlers adhere to his or her character, and sometimes there are incidents that appear to be real that are staged by the promotion as part of the story. What is the term used to describe this? I'm going to do multiple choice because this is pretty niche. Life ploy, action scene, fraudulation, or kayfabe.
What was the last one?
Kayfabe.
I like the term fraudulation. I just like that word.
Pick kayfabe just because it's such a odd word. I don't feel like you made it up.
I think it might be kayfabe. Oh
It's
my god.
Kayfabe. It's
It
kayfabe.
is, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man. That's a great question. Oh man. I gotta go back on YouTube and watch like interviews because they talk like that all the time. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. They talk in code like that.
All
All right,
right.
next question. I can't wait. This is the best. This is the
Sometimes
best
in
game
pro,
ever.
sometimes in pro wrestling, a wrestler will break character or do something unscripted. What is this called? I'm gonna do multiple choice since nobody jumped on it.
Going rogue.
Like a code breaker, a snafu, a bummer, or a shoot.
No.
Snafu?
Code breaker.
Tell us we're right. So I'm gonna say it's not a code breaker.
Sounds like shoot.
I'm waiting. I'm not jumping in. I'm waiting until all the answers are submitted. So I'm waiting on Ray.
I said shoot. I'm gonna go shoot.
Okay. It's a shoot.
Boom.
It's when an unscripted move or comment is made by a wrestler. And this often happens when a fan can interfere or a legitimate in-ring injury occurs. They have to move on to something else.
Yeah, that's why, by the way, those who don't know, that's why they're actual referees or officials in the ring, because they're really there for the safety of the wrestlers.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so if they get injured, they'll know and they'll signal something to to get help.
All right. What is the term used when a wrestler does not perform a particular move correctly? An error, a foul, a botch, or a strike?
Jeez, I don't know.
Patch.
I'm gonna go strike.
It's a botch.
Oh,
Hey, we got one.
All right.
We got one. Try to hang on to this.
SMRT. I am so smart.
All right. What is the term? This is my last one. What is the term for a wrestler who performs in a manner that generates positive fan reaction? A good man, a nice man, people pleaser, or baby face?
It's gotta be babyface, right? We're talking about this is from the carnival culture. This comes
I
from.
like babyface.
Yeah.
It's correct. Baby.
Oh.
But that's it. That was the last
Who do you
question.
think- that was the last one. I guess my follow-up would be, who do you think is the most famous WWE babyface ever?
Probably Hulk Hogan until he went here.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. All right, that's it. That's all I got.
It's fun.
Oh,
Technically one of the worst wrestlers. Technically one of the worst like technical wrestlers, of his time.
Yeah,
Like he was technically awful. Like
yeah.
that's why he had such like his move was a leg drop and a big boot. Like.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Macho Man's like, about 80 feet in the air, flying elbow drop. There's little differences.
I was gonna ask, like, who is okay? If Hogan was the worst, who is the best?
Technically, oh
Mhm.
man, I don't know. It depends on because during Andre the Giant's time, I have no idea because Hogan came around that time too.
Well, Andre was also a decent, I mean, he grew up he was a capable wrestler. And
Yeah.
just, a really, a specimen that truthfully, everything that I was reading about, most of the wrestlers were afraid of him.
Oh yeah,
You wanted to be on his good side.
yeah.
Yeah.
he would did you watch the HBO?
I loved that.
Oh my God. When he goes, like, he's playing cards and they get on the little table, you could barely see the cards in his hands. And like, it was like Macho Man comes up to him, he's like, hey, Andre, maybe you could, it said something to him and he's like, no. And like, it just like almost breaks the thing in half,
I could see wrestling being like unlike most sports, in terms of talent aging over time, because like I've heard, like basketball, baseball, football, like you can always hear somebody talk about athletes in those sports from like 50 years ago, and like you can have a pretty competitive argument about like, could they perform in the league currently, and like could they stand their own? But wrestling in a way, I think with a lot of the moves is very similar to like snowboarding or skateboarding, in that like certain things don't seem possible until they're done.
Mm-hmm.
And then it raises the bar, to those things happening. And a lot of probably what those guys or girls choose to do is probably the number one pullback from it is like injury and fear,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
which is the number one pullback in like extreme sports,
It's way more. I mean, I haven't watched wrestling in like, I've watched snippets here, but like I watched a match, I think, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago. And I was like, this is light years sophistication wise. Like this is,
I was just imagining, if like they could see, if somebody in wrestling could see what wrestling was like today, I bet the athleticism, they'd be like, oh, I didn't know you, because it's inching forward year after year, being like, oh, you can do that and not like mortally wound yourself,
Right. And there's a, I'm sure there's like a pedagogy that developed around it to learn how to train people properly.
Yeah,
so that
that's
they
what I
don't
was
do
just
it.
gonna say. Like they train better too because they know better.
Whereas like in other sports, I mean, I'm sure there's like head game and stuff. I don't know. Fear is probably not as big a factor in like development. I don't know. I just think like some of the top rope stuff that those guys do, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, I remember my friend saying, he said the number one thing to always remember is that you and the person you're wrestling are there to keep each other safe. Like it's a trust factor. So like you have to like, and like when the rehearsing and things like that, like it's all about like making sure that you keep them safe. And like they won't wrestle with people who are like a liability, to themselves and to the person in the ring. Because it's like, I don't know, I don't want to be paralyzed, by doing a match with you, man. Like we're only getting paid like $30 for this thing.
Right.
But yeah, that's a good it's really interesting. I mean, it's evolved so much. I mean, it's like baseball. I mean, like, Babe Ruth, I wish Chris, I mean, I don't know if Chris would agree to this, but like, like Babe Ruth today, like in his physicality, I mean, you can't be like, it's the game doesn't allow for it's so advanced now, like the ceiling is just so raised that like, you can't be somebody like that, and excel as much as he did for his time.
Good point once that I hadn't thought of, which was like, when a lot of these records were set, it would be important to look at what the size of an outfielder's glove was.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, totally.
The Malcolm Gladwellian explanation that I've heard of it is that we live in a world now where it is much easier to identify the extreme talents and place them on tracks to develop and perform. And like the best athletes of like 100 years ago were tremendous athletes performing in leagues made up of like people who found their way to those leagues,
right,
often on their own, but not so much by like a massive system that's in place to find them, which
Right.
now is,
Yeah.
most of the stars, most of the star players that you're seeing like on the field or on the court, people have been supposing that they're going to be on that court for like the past, like since they were like 10 or 12,
Right.
and their parents far before that, obviously,
Mhm.
Right.
yeah.
To connect it to art. I mean, not to.
I like
mention
it. Bring it back
not-
to art.
Well, not to mention like another show, another stream on this, but in Live Brush last night, Tyler and I were talking about how concept art was very much is like that. Whereas like exactly what you were saying, Timmy, like where it was originally filled with people who were from different disciplines. Like there was no discipline of concept art. It didn't exist. Like there were concept art that was being done. They were concept artists, but there wasn't like a discipline like an illustration discipline was.
Concept art. Yeah.
Right.
Artist.
Exactly. And now like, there's a whole curriculum because there's such a need for it. There was there's a curriculum, a training that built around that, to train people properly for it. And it's the same thing with wrestling. Because I'm sure the schools have been super sophisticated now, in terms of learning how to do it.
Ray, it's been interesting listening to you talk, and you're wrong a lot, which is I find really interesting. No, I love how you approach things. You approach things very, very methodically and can back up your statements really well, well thought out.
We talking about sports or concept art, John?
Either one, but I'm going to kind of give you another opinion that Chris and I have talked about a lot about the Babe Ruth thing. And you picked like the wrong person.
I know.
Because,
of course, like the great Bambino, like
the great Bambino is the wrong person to pick because he was so much better than everybody else. And what made him great was not size, strength. What made him great was his eye to hand coordination. To be a great hitter, you have to have it. And that, you find athletes like I have like the Kansas City superstar George Brett. Athletically, it's like he for some reason you could probably outrun him backwards. I mean, his feet are very slow. Everything, he's just got the most unbelievable eye-to-hand coordination you've ever seen. Yeah. And so that's like a talent all on itself. And there's very few of those people that come along. So that's my only argument to the Babe Ruth thing.
Well, I don't think anybody thinks that Babe Ruth wasn't a great athlete. I think the comment is essentially that he wouldn't have stood out as much today as he did.
Oh, probably not, because there's others too that the training, everything, just genetically they're bigger, but he was also a very large person for somebody that played at that time.
Yeah, it's just like there were just so many athletes probably back in the day that just like would have been incredible, but just like didn't find their way to the sport,
Right.
Yeah, that's more the point that I was making. So
and a lot of most of the especially in the fight game, and baseball too, almost all sports, early 20th century American sports, it was most everybody was an immigrant. I mean, it was from that population, because that was their, those were the people that wanted to compete in sports more than anybody else.
Right.
And that was their opportunity out. So are you saying Rocky Marciano couldn't compete in today's world?
I don't think anybody said they couldn't. Yeah.
I'm saying that the talent, like if Rocky Marciano would have been, think of what Rocky Marciano would have been with today's training and technology.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I meant. Like these people were just doing it off of like raw ability, and to be fostered that much. I mean, that just, if you would actually foster it like with today, like, oh my goodness, it'd be complete monsters,
Yeah.
So, and you could see the same thing in art education, like some of the old school, like at least in like a figurative sense, like you see people that have incredible ability to understand, and they've sharpened their eye and they have a really good sense of things, but like if they don't have, like if their training is kind of subpar, then they have a ceiling to it. Like they're good, but they could have been that much greater if they had the right people teaching them. I guess that's what I was saying about like some of the older athletes. I mean, it was no fault of
I
their
mean, like
own,
the big argument with like that you could say then is that like Babe Ruth could have been better today than he was then, because simply I would say confidently there's no way he was training with athletes that were across the board as talented as they are today.
right?
Like his peers could not have been compete with the current world. It's interesting, like bringing it back to like art, because like everybody that we interview on the show or that comes in as a guest speaker, they always have this like I feel like this is a through line with all these people, is they always have this like outstanding situation where they like found themselves in this like bizarre situation where they gained access to a ton of information or to like the perfect people,
Yeah.
Right.
like
Circumstantial. Yeah.
it's so much of it is circumstantial, and it comes across as luck. I think that sometimes they embrace a situation, they identify it, they see it, and they grab onto it. So I don't want to like say it's all luck.
Well, it's like they had some skill in place or an opportunity to gain skill, and then opportunity arrived.
Yeah.
And they all, I mean, everyone we've talked to, I mean, they hustled, it was,
Yeah, they put the effort into it.
yeah.
Because I think about like we were talking about like, I probably said this here before, like a lot of the people, there's a lot of people that draw with us on Thursday nights. There are a lot of people that attend Visual Arts Passage like mentorships, and like 100+ years ago, y'all wouldn't have known anybody outside of your town, and you would have been like the best artist in your town.
Mhm.
That would have been like your thing. You would have been like the town artist. I mean, unless you lived in unless you unfortunately like lived in a town where an icon was or something.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
why you moved to towns for specific reasons.
Yeah, but like sign painters, things like that, like there was like you could be the best, whereas like today that's a lot harder to be the best.
Unless that town was Paris.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I like to think of Paris more as a city, but yeah, but you could have been the best in your neighborhood in Paris. Yeah, on your block.
On your block, yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
thought it was funny to say. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, it's just like there's so many examples of just like, and it's totally standing on the shoulders of people that came before them. I mean, there wouldn't be,
Yeah.
I don't know, like a Mike Trout if there weren't like a, Babe Ruth or Lou Gehrig or any of those, those like Satchel Paige, like it's all of those, there's just those trailblazers. But like you could see it in, we've had every so often this it's funny because this comes all up, in a different medium for me all the time, because we talked about this ad nauseum with comics. Like you could see like how primitive they were, but it was like, well, the training wasn't,
Right.
it's like this, it was like a working man's.
What was that, Adam?
The guy who invented the wheel didn't invent radial tires. He didn't go
Right.
with that. Yeah.
Right.
Well, but also like the comics that were done, were done in such a quick turnaround time. They were the best that they could be under the circumstances.
Right. Right.
And so,
and wall fencing and art.
so like somebody doing a, not just one monthly book, but like 3 monthly books,
Right.
and writing them, et cetera, and not getting credit for that, is
Well, like-
different than somebody working on their own, graphic novel where they've got, a year. And I think the same thing is true for like, book illustration too. Like artists, I think, have much more luxury of time in certain areas than they used to. I mean, certainly in comics, it's true.
It's kind of backwards right now, because you look at great illustrators from the first half of the 20th century, and they had so much time, so much, and months to do pieces. And you go to
Yeah.
Brandywine and you see paintings that are 4 feet tall that were, book covers. There was a, you could argue it's like, that was, and it definitely was the can we compete with those people from the past?
Right,
Right.
right, exactly. And then the situation.
And right now we're not. So it's like, and not many do,
Yeah. And, would those people be able to compete now,
Or how good they would be. Like, how good would, like, do you think with today's just the access to information, like somebody like Jack Kirby would be like, what he would be able to accomplish? Like, he wouldn't need someone like Stan Lee.
You wouldn't what?
He wouldn't need someone like Stan Lee or a publisher to do his thing. I mean, he could literally publish all of his visions if he wanted to, or like, and see why I've never been frustrated with being an illustrator. And all of them are products of their
But
times. I mean, this is complete fan fiction.
Here's a
but,
question for you, Ray. Would Gustav Klimt be any better with technology?
He would be different. It's like,
Yeah.
I guess, better is like, it's a weird term. I guess it's like what they would have done. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's a really interesting discussion. It's like, maybe it was like a perfect scenario, it's because they didn't get distracted by technology. They focused on developing the skills that they needed to produce what they were doing with their work. And they were myopic in their focus. That's one of the things that is really hard to replace is, the average individual now, has a lot of distraction.
right.
I'm going to give our 5-minute warning on this last pose, and then we're going to check out everybody's work. While I'm talking, I do want to remind everybody tonight is the last night to sign up for animated illustration taught by Tony Rodriguez. It's an incredible course. Tony is one of my favorite people that I think I've gotten to meet through the school. He's incredible. He's an awesome teacher. He's so funny. And I'm going to drop a link to the class and you can see some of the work he's created. He is going to be teaching you how to bring motion to your illustration. This is not like an advanced animation class. This is how you as an illustrator can learn how to add movement and emotion to what you draw very easily. And it's actually become a really high demand request, especially like in digital media. So I really recommend this course, and enrollment ends tomorrow morning. So
I recommend it too, because it's a skill set that is becoming more and more popular, and really increases your value as a working illustrator if you're able to do it.
Tony also sent us the most animated sales pitch video of him selling the class.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
That's
The
amazing.
whole videos. It's just go watch the video.
Yeah.
he said to me, and I was like, Tony, you've raised the bar for anybody else who ever teaches with us. We're gonna be asking everybody for video testimonial.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really recommend checking it out. Yeah, it's fun. And I also lied. You guys have 2 minutes left. Not the panelists, but the audience. We're gonna need you to start posting your work soon. So if you're slow at posting, I recommend just going now. I'll say this. I know we talked a lot about sports tonight. It was WrestleMania night, and John and I and quite a few of the people on the panel were fascinated by sports. So one of the things I do want to remind people though is if you want us to talk about other stuff, ask questions. Please use the Q&A or chat us on Discord. Guess it's too late for you to do that now tonight, but
Well, I think also one of the,
yeah,
the thing about sports is that at least I find it really interesting because, when you meet a professional in regardless of a field, like I was today, I went to a party last earlier in the week, a birthday party, and I met where like the person was birthday was, he was a chef, like, well, he worked in the restaurant industry, and so he had chefs as his friends were there, and like talking to somebody who does like something at a professional level and is successful is like, you meet like-minded people, and like athletes are no different. Like it's really, really similar, that's what always fascinates me about sports. So it's I think you learn a lot by, it's not saying like, oh, in order for be a great artist, you gotta watch, you gotta subscribe to ESPN Plus.
yeah. Welcome to Sports Center.
Yeah, welcome to Sports Center. Right.
One of some of the best conversations I've had about being an art educator over the years have been with like my gym teacher friends.
Right.
It's,
Because they get it.
yeah, and they they kind of fill the same part in people's lives, right? We're all kind of doing something that everyone kind of did for a while, and then not everyone did after third grade. And some people become spectators of, and some people become enthusiasts, and some people, leave it by the wayside. So, art and sports kind of occupy the same place in the public consciousness, even if they're not, equal in priority. But when you go to, teach them in, let's say, a general education type setting, you're occupying the same part of people's like lives. And then as a professional in it, you're doing something that, it takes a lot of hard work to be a lousy basketball player.
Right.
And then to do it professionally is like you're doing the same thing on just this unfathomable level that, if you're teaching 18-year-olds, for instance, you don't know who's going to be what.
Right.
So there are a lot of like parallels in how we think about it, how we communicate what we do to the people around us and advocate for it for the students. That was my thing.
Makes sense to me.
So that's why this is going to be a
Well,
sports
that looks
stream.
great, Cassandra. I love it.
Oh my God, Cassandra, that's fantastic.
Not that baby oil.
Jesus.
He shimmers.
He
Things
sure
like
does.
diamonds.
Everybody,
God.
I'm gonna walk around the room, and while I'm doing that, I'm gonna ask the audience, please post your work to Instagram using hashtag illustration isolation and @visualartspassage. Please tag us. Alice usually reposts. I'll send her a reminder. She always reposts everybody's work with the Visual Arts Passage account. So share your work. We'll repost it. Would love to see it, and we're gonna check it out tonight. So post it now, though. Don't wait.
Alice is a machine with those.
She
posts.
is.
I know when the Instagram live looks just like dots, right?
Right. yeah, seriously.
Not
It's
supposed
like-
to be dots. Those are supposed to be dashes.
Like, is Alice asleep?
Yeah,
Oh wow,
that's awesome. Yeah.
That is so great.
Sandra, that's magical.
I couldn't move on from the photo. It's so fun. I just feel like we should be sponsored by Slim Jims. Like things need to happen.
Yeah, I think we.
Sandra, you've
let's-
been wanting to paint that one all day. know.
I have. It was one I was looking forward to. So yeah.
I think that might be the thing that seduced Ray to show up tonight.
This picture alone is yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. You know me very well, John. You know me very well.
Of all the photos, he's the one who's most obviously flexing and posing. Yeah, it's great.
And
He's the best.
Andre the Giant would not want to wrestle him.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, that's so
my
awesome.
that's
Oh,
great.
that's amazing, Adam.
That's
Oh,
terrific.
Awesome.
Oh,
King Kong Bundy would approve.
Beautiful, beautiful job.
Bill, how many pieces you done today?
Yeah,
this
that's
is
what I was
my
going to ask.
fourth.
Yeah.
Because every time I look at I glance over at your camera, you're starting a different piece. And
Yeah,
I'm
this
like,
is my fourth one. So
Well done.
that's awesome.
Looks
I had
great.
some time, so I just thought I'd do that guy.
So
That's
fun.
awesome.
So fun.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It's what brought me out of hiding. So that's what made me tell my kid I can't hang out with you today.
Sorry, Daddy's got a better place to be
The
right
macho
now.
man is calling me.
The macho man is calling. The madness is calling me.
So I have a question for you guys, because like Adam, you draw muscles incredibly well, and Rhea, so do you. Do you guys ever just like your brain just starts to get confused by the number of muscles that you're drawing on something like this?
Yes.
And you almost feel like you're adding extra muscles in?
You know what it is on this one? It's like the making sure that I don't like get lost and start repeating a highlight. It's more of that. It's more like these, it's like, if you're trying to do like a really, really realistic landscape and you have lost track of where in the mountain you are,
Yeah.
or you realize you've given the tree like, 3 of the same branch. And that was the
Right.
thing that I was trying not to do. So it wasn't even so much as losing track of the muscles as the landforms.
John, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Oh, yeah.
awesome, John.
Wow.
Gosh.
It's, I'm going to argue with you on that
No,
one.
no. I'm not. You're not allowed to argue. It's phenomenal.
Time to say you're not allowed to argue, John.
Got a long way to go.
Really cool.
Yeah, Bill, I just focus on like just the insertion points and like just landmarks, basically. That's all I'm thinking of, like in terms of just the overall volumes. So like,
Yeah. No, I
you know,
appreciate that.
kinda like-
Starting out in comics, I knew people that like knew every single muscle on the human body and
oh yeah,
draw it out of their head, and you're just like, I hate you,
yeah.
And I mean, there's a few people that can do that really well, like Brent Anderson does that really well, and Bill Sienkiewicz does that really well. And it just blows my mind.
And they've pared it down to like a language too, that they can kind of just simplify, right, and just bring so that's
but
easy to
they
call it up.
still- But they still, could sit there and construct a human being just and make it look convincing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think there's something to that,
It all depends on what effect you wanting to give too, right? I mean, like,
yeah, no, that's true.
I mean, Alex Raymond used live models, for goodness sake,
All right, Timmy, you ready?
Yeah.
You
Here we
guys
go.
are making me Macho Man envy.
well, you should be jealous, Adam. You
Yeah.
should be.
So I got this reference and I was running, and then kid ran by me and I felt like I was standing still. And I was just like,
Oh, that's so good.
This is
That-
great. I love it.
Yeah.
This is
oh my God, that's cool.
perfect.
That's this is. I already know this is going to be like an epic.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh wow.
Oh,
There you go.
really nice. Great job.
Yeah.
I always love her color.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Go,
Way to
Peter.
go, Peter.
There we go.
Got that neck stress smile, really.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Peter.
Very
Ooh,
good.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh,
that's terrific.
Good
There you go.
job.
Wow.
Little depth of
Oh, your
field, I like
ropes
it.
are so great too.
There you go.
Got those stars.
Yep.
Stars.
I mean, that to me, that looks like after he's, after he's retired, he's thinned down, he's aged a little bit. It's a great drawing.
Living
A
on the
lot of
beach.
energy.
Really fun.
There it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Ah,
Yeah, Devin.
Evan.
geez, that looks like a
Gorgeous.
classical
Cinema
figure.
Batista.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow. It's like a Charles Reed.
beautiful.
Woohoo.
Very
Good
nice.
job. Tiny.
There you go.
Nice, Jeff.
Wow.
Oh,
There you go.
Nice.
wow.
Wow.
Really great.
Oh, that's
That's
awesome.
nice.
That's nice, Andre.
Oh yeah.
That's so good.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
let's just get there fast. I love it.
Love it.
Great. Wow.
Oh,
There you go,
Nice,
Chuck.
Chuck.
I love that.
Oh, man. That is
Wow.
nice.
Beautiful.
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 Now I
Some
wish I would have done the
people-
other ones.
So many people
I
tag.
love that pose. That's my favorite pose.
It's a really nice pose.
So many
Well,
people tagged WWE. I love it. Next week, John and I are going to be like, so we sold Illustration Isolation to WWE.
McMahon is going to be the new host.
Oh, Gary. Oh my gosh.
Brutal.
John, just skip. I thought it was agreed that we just skip Gary's as soon as we see it.
No, I get to do Nerf balls at him while he tries to draw.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
That one was
Look at
wild.
that.
There's another one.
Oh my goodness.
He drew
Beautiful
this
setup.
morning too. Did some beautiful
Oh,
pieces.
he did so good.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Whoa, Tyler.
Wow.
giggity.
The lighting is perfect.
So great.
What is this?
Really nice too.
That.
It almost looks like a cunyo. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
I like
Nice,
that one
Karen.
too.
Good job,
Nice.
Karen.
Very nice. That's
There you
nice.
go.
That is really nice.
Man, that
Oh,
was a
yeah.
good post. Oh, that's
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Whoa.
Julian.
Ooh.
Primo.
I got a beautiful package from Julian over the weekend of 4 drawings of the Beatles that were just
Oh,
stunning.
Whoa. You got those drawings. The ones he was sharing online?
Yep.
those are good.
Wow.
You know what, John? You're banned from illustration isolation. Sandra,
Please. Please.
nerf him.
Please pack your palette and go.
Oh,
Right.
that's nice.
Somebody
These are
ban
ugly.
me.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a curse. Like you have to replace your spot with another artist.
I know. They would quit after the first week. I was
Yeah.
telling Timmy, I sent my photographs over to him last night and I told him to look at the timestamp on it. It was after we got done at study hall and it was 2 a.m. when I sent the photographs over to him.
God.
These are all looking fantastic.
Yeah.
Great.
Nice.
Mm.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I haven't been
good.
going fast enough, I don't think. Yes.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah. But we've been
Oh,
holding you up,
really
though.
nice.
That is cool.
Oh, nice.
Good job.
Jeez.
Oh, that's
Yes.
fun.
There we go.
That's
Yeah.
fun.
I
Nice.
have a giggle like every time I see Macho Man.
I
just
know.
Oh, that's really beautiful too.
Nice.
Oh,
Oh,
oh, yes.
That's fun.
We have a
That's fun.
winner. I really
Yeah.
like that.
That's awesome.
That's really great.
Great job. Oh, good job, Rebecca.
Nice drawing.
Yes,
There it is.
Felicity.
Oh my
Nice.
God, Felicity.
Got the stars.
Beautiful stars.
Oh,
Ooh,
That's a good one too.
gorgeous.
that looks like, that looks like a Heindel drawing.
Yeah.
It does.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
that's
nice
cool.
one too.
Ooh,
That's
that's
a
a
really-
really nice one.
That's a good compliment. Oh, that's
Oh.
fun, Jeff.
Jeff, that's my favorite. Good job.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's really fun.
Great.
Right on.
Yes.
yeah.
There you go.
Oh, these are all so good.
Oh,
Oh,
Ooh,
Randy.
nice, Randy.
Wow, that's awesome.
Uh-huh.
I would love to see
Nice,
Randy's
Karen.
studio while he's
Nice,
making this
Karen.
stuff. It must be like a tornado of
Oh,
art
that's cool.
supplies. That's beautiful.
Nice movement.
Tornado of art supplies.
Oh, fun.
Wow, that's awesome. See, that's what I was trying to do.
Right.
Oh man.
if you draw Randy thin, you can get to Bob Ross really quick.
Oh yeah.
There
Think
you go.
about that, John.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Like
Oh,
Wow, that's good.
Oh, that's
Ooh,
cool.
Wow.
that's
That's
cool.
Beautiful.
There's that belly light.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool too.
Hmm, so fun. Oh,
that's
Marcy,
Marcy.
love it.
There to go, Peter.
Good
Yeah, that's
job.
awesome.
Nice.
So fun.
Even crop like that, you know who it is.
Yes.
I like that. Bob Savage. That was something.
Yeah, that's funny.
wow.
Oh, that's lovely.
Uh,
I feel bad just mentioning one person that sent me great work. I've gotten so much great work from Devin, from Peter, from
Yeah.
so many people, Julian, so many people have sent me wonderful pieces.
Well, you're just trying not to gloat.
Nicole,
right?
again, I
She's
know
all
I'm
jealous,
not
yeah.
bringing somebody up, but it's amazing how much nice stuff people have sent me.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
Felicity.
mm, nice.
That's nice.
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool too.
Oh, Sally, that's fun.
Wow.
Great shapes.
I thought people did such a great job on the guy being manhandled by Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
Like that,
Yeah.
that kind of
Oh, there it
helpless
is.
slump.
That was my favorite muscle man.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
It's great.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh, Addie.
That's beautiful.
Way to go, Addie.
Yes.
Love that.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Fun.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Nice.
There we go.
Mhm.
Ooh.
I actually really like that one
yeah,
too.
right.
Immediate.
Ooh, that's lovely.
Nice ocean.
Yeah.
That's from earlier today.
That's from this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah, we're at this morning now.
I love that. I've not.
Oh, I didn't see that one. That turned
Yeah,
out
that's great.
great.
Way to go. All right, everybody. Cassandra and Timmy and Bill and Ray and Adam, thank you all for joining tonight. Really fun drawing with all of you. Don't forget about the class that we're closing enrollment on Tony Rodriguez's animation class. That's coming up this weekend. And look forward to drawing with all of you next week. That was really fun.
Yeah, what a fun night.
Thank
Very
you.
fun night.
Thank you,
Really
everyone.
fun theme. Thank you so much.
A night that I didn't think I was going to have very much fun. I had a lot of fun.
Oh, it's great fun.
Timmy knocked it out of the park.
All right, everybody.
See y'all later.